I am very cold. I must have some hot soup. It's very nice with hot soup. Would you like some hot soup, Beverly?
No, thank you.
I think you will like some hot soup.
So this is my vintage 1986 My Pet Punk Monster. Isn't that great? One of a kind. This is Rark, also vintage 1986, the hand puppet My Pet Monster. And it's so funny. When I was a kid, I used to make him talk so much. I'm such a big lummox now, I can't even fit my hand in there up his bum bum to make him talk anymore. This is my vintage Opus doll from the Bloom County comic series. And I bet you know this guy. This is Ronald McDonald. He even comes with a whistle, and you could go in his mouth, and it doesn't work anymore, but he used to be able to squeeze it.
What
This
the
is
are we
a-
doing here?
Bruh.
Welcome back to Bottom of the Barrel.
Hi, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Ben, and we're scraping the bottom of the barrel to come up with the best, worst movies that we can think of.
Because like us, you may take great pleasure in that, for whatever reason.
For whatever reason, indeed. Today we're talking about a movie called Beyond the Door 3. And the reason why we're doing Beyond the Door 3 is because Beyond the Door 3 has absolutely nothing to do with Beyond the Door 1 or Beyond the Door 2. So we can start wherever the hell we want with this series.
I have not seen part 2.
No.
I've seen part 1.
Okay.
I'm going to say this one was more enjoyable.
Yeah. So we'll talk about part 1 in just a moment because I'd like to hear your opinions on some things in a moment. This movie, Beyond the Door 3, is also known as Amok Train or Death Train. Those are the alternate titles of this one. They were directed by a guy named Jeff Whitney. They were produced by a guy by one Ovidio Gabriel Assontis. Now, Jeffrey.
Santis.
Assontis, or is it Assantis? I wrote Assontis.
Assonitis.
Oh my God, I got it completely wrong. Ben mispronouncing a guy's name. Assonitis. I
How
spelled
do you
it wrong.
mispronounce Assonitis?
I never heard anybody say it before.
You go to a
TBH?
doctor for that.
Yeah. Getting Assonitis. Okay, so what do you think of one Ovidio Gabriel Assonitis?
I think that he's maybe not a visionary, maybe not an auteur, maybe not a prodigy of film, but he did give us about 91 minutes of fun.
Yeah.
Some great visuals and some fun.
So the only connection to the other Beyond the Door movies is the fact that the producer of this movie, Ovidio Gabriel Assonitis, was the director of the first Beyond the Door. And the way that movie came about is he tried to buy the rights to make Blatty's Exorcist movie. When he did not win those rights, he decided he was going to make his own movie called Beyond the Door, and it was going to be enough like The Exorcist that they ended up suing him. So that's a little story about Mr. Assonitis. Another thing is that Jeff Whitney, when he was hired or when he was in talks with Assonitis to direct this movie, he went and asked James Cameron of Avatar fame for advice because James Cameron had directed Piranha 2. I believe it was called The Deadly Spawn, that one.
I think so.
Yeah, Piranha 2 with the flying piranhas and Lance Henriksen and stuff. He asked him for some advice, and James Cameron said, "Don't do the movie." But Whitney didn't have any other work, so why the not, right? He did it. It was shot in and around Belgrade, this movie. And since Yugoslavia in the late 80s, this was 1989, since the Soviet Union was pretty unstable, it was about to fall, and Yugoslavia was pretty unstable as a result of that, they had to go very fast. So they filmed things very fast. They were doing 18-hour days, and a lot of the local workers that they hired to work on the sets, they paid $1 a day. So yeah, it was really cheap for them, I guess. The gory effects that we're going to talk about as we go forward weren't done by Whitney. They were directed by Angelo Mattei, who I believe is related to Bruno and those characters, the other Mateys.
That's my guess, yeah.
Yeah. And what this movie is about is a group of high school kids are being sent to Serbia, to the Serbia area of Yugoslavia. Back then, it wasn't a separate country, it was just an area within Yugoslavia. They're being sent there for reasons unknown. We don't know why they're going to the Balkans for a school trip. All we know is that it's going to cost them $800 each and that there's no adult supervision. They're just sending six 35-year-old teenagers. Is it six? I think it's seven.
Yeah.
There's four boys and three girls.
They were high school kids?
They were high school kids. I think they were high school kids. Were they high school kids or college kids? I'm not
I
sure.
thought it was college.
Either way, these kids are going. They don't have any adults with them. It's going to cost them $800. Okay? Within the first 2 minutes, we get a full boob shower scene. Okay? Of our character named Beverly, who is a Serb. She's got a very weird birthmark that looks like body paint around her belly button. And it's very faded, and it doesn't look like any birthmark that I've ever seen. It also doesn't look like any tattoo I've ever seen. It looks like something that's been painted on. Uh, and then Mom walks in. And Jeff's just shaking his head there. The only function that Mom serves in this movie is to give us all of the backstory. Mom is the exposition story lady. She tells us that Beverly's from Serbia. She's going to visit the spot in Serbia that her father's from. She gives her a book that talks about that area, like a little journal type thing, which doesn't come into play until the very, very end of this movie. Like, forget this book. Remember, keep it in your memory banks.
I did forget it until the very end of
Yeah.
the movie.
And you're like, oh shit, yeah, it's that book, right? The only reason why I think that Beverly's been invited on this trip is the fact that she speaks the language. But it turns out that she's been invited for more reasons than that. The first thing they need to do, though, is they need to.
Can we go back to the
Yeah.
shower scene for one
Yes,
second?
absolutely.
My favorite thing about the shower scene,
Uh-huh.
there's a perfectly functional shower curtain right next to her,
Yeah.
attached to the shower. And after arguing with her mother for barging in on her nude in the shower, she then closes the curtain.
I didn't even clock that. I did note that Beverly is full of attitude and she doesn't like her mom or the other kids or anyone for that matter. Beverly is miserable, and we'll get into why she's miserable in a few minutes. After her plane takes off, she gets dropped off at the airport. After Beverly's plane takes off to go to Serbia, Mom gets in a cab. This cab driver is something else too. It looks like it's Los Angeles. I paused it so that I could see the street signs, and it was Santa Monica Boulevard, so it looks like they were in Los Angeles for sure. This cab driver is wearing a jaunty hat, and he's got an ascot on, and these movie star sunglasses, and I was sure that he was European. Like he's got to be a European cab driver.
There's no cab driver. I mean, I think it was supposed to be. It was filmed in Santa Monica, but
Yeah.
I mean Santa Monica, L.A.
Yeah.
and supposed to be New York.
Yeah.
There was no cab driver in New York who was dressed like that. He looked like Captain Sensible from The Damned.
Yeah, he did. He sure did. And maybe in the 70s when Paul Stanley Ice and Ace Frehley were driving cab in New York City, sure, you could have had a guy back then that looked like that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Either way, this cab driver is the slowest cab driver that you could ever get because first he gets overtaken by this massive truck with all these steel beams on the back of it. And you have to be going pretty f***ing slow if you're going to get overtaken by one of those. And then this car driving erratically overtakes both of them. And then that guy brake checks the truck.
Mhm.
And suddenly, one of those steel beams comes flying off the back of the truck and impales Beverly's mother, killing her. Now, everywhere that I've read said that she was beheaded.
I think she was.
Did you see her head pop off?
It made it look. I don't know how they did it,
Yeah.
but what it looked like to me was the steel beam or whatever it was hit her like in the throat,
Oh, okay.
and what it looked like it was a dummy body with no head, and her head was behind it because it looked like her head separated
Oh, I
from the body. It was
don't know how I
very
missed that.
well done.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, folks, that's beheading number one.
Oh,
Get used to
yeah!
it because we're going to see lots of beheadings in this movie. Insane beheadings for no reason. After that happens, we're in Belgrade. We're suddenly in Belgrade. The plane has landed. This group of children are met by our hero,
I am Professor Andramelech.
Bo Svensson. He was Count Silvano in Maniac Killer that we did a few weeks ago, and he's a character named Professor Adramelech in this one. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like backwards for something. I didn't do the math myself
I
on
tried to
that.
figure that out
Yeah.
too, but no, I don't think it was.
No. So it is our favorite Count Silvano. He has a funny haircut in this one. It's like a weird kind of proto Karen cut when he's
Mm,
in the wind, like it's kind of poofed out in the back and down in the front.
yeah.
Um, he's got a chin beard. He's
Ugh,
got it's no mustache. He's just got the beard here. He's not
yeah.
doing a Slavic accent. He's doing a Russian accent. But you know what? Props to him for trying to do something fun. I don't know if he ever plays a regular type character because we've seen him be Count Silvano, we've seen him be Professor Adramelech. Does he ever play a guy named Steve or something like that? Who knows?
I can only hope. I've only seen him in those two movies that we've done, so
Yeah,
he can become. Maybe he'll be a bottom of the barrel regular, whatever
him
the
and
hell you
Robert
said his name
Ginty.
was. Yeah, Robert Ginty never plays a character who isn't a sex creep, and so maybe this guy also just never plays a guy named Steve.
He likes to do He likes to do funny accents. He likes to
Yeah,
play weird European characters.
counts.
So Count Adramelech. Oh, I called him Count Adramelech because of Silvano. Oh, now it's twisted in my brain. He loads them onto a gross-looking a gross-looking boat, to begin their journey to the region that Beverly's father is from. And just as they're about to go out, a little person runs out to meet him, and that's little person number one in the movie,
Mhm.
because do have another little person later. He runs out and gives Mr. Count Adramelech a, a telegram that says that Beverly's mother has been killed in an accident and that she needs to come home right away. And this guy, he says, to hell with that. I'm going to scrunch this bad boy up. I'm going to huck it in the river. What a bad guy, right?
I think they let us in on that a little too soon.
Yeah.
It's like right out the gate, we know he's the villain. There's no suspense building there.
Well, I mean, in the very next scene, things are going to get a little bit weird.
Hmm.
So they're all sitting around a table. All the kids and and Mr. Professor Adramelech are sitting around a table, and now we're told why they're there. So they're there to see a passion play, like a Passion of the Christ play, which is something I guess happens in places. I've never heard of one happening around here. Maybe it's something that happens in places where Christian people have set up ministries in other countries or something like that. I don't know, like South America or where they say we'll come in and build a hospital or a school, but only if you convert to Christianity, sort of business.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. We'll just take it on good faith that
yeah,
that's a thing that happens somewhere
yeah.
in the world.
But this passion play has been being performed for 2,000 years, and that was before Jesus even happened. So what the hell is this passion play? Well, it turns out that this passion play isn't a passion play at all. It's about a female virgin who becomes the bride of Satan. And so that's pretty weird, right?
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, foreshadowing. They like give up the whole game right there. It's
Yeah.
weird. And meanwhile, he's also given each one of these kids a little medallion that's in the same shape as that marking that's on Beverly's belly. And one of the other girls there says, "Oh, that's the same shape that's on Beverly's belly." And she gets all embarrassed, and everybody's mad. And then everyone makes fun of her for being a stupid virgin. And everybody laughs, including the professor. They're like, oh, the stupid virgin is so angry. And then she gets angry, and then she gets upset and runs away.
There's only one virgin I know of.
The very next scene is very gross because the way that Adramelech comforts her for being made fun of for being a virgin is just greasy. Look at Jeff's face. It's a greasy scene. He's all over her. He's got his hands on her. He's stroking her. He's making her hug him. He's telling her that it's okay to be a stupid virgin, and and, and that all those kids don't understand.
You are such a shy, innocent, and lovely young girl.
It's really gross. It's not cool. But finally, they take a small boat, a small rowboat, and make landfall in this area. And it's like an old wood, like it's an ancient wood. It looks pretty cool.
A really, really cool setting. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
absolutely.
really cool setting. Apparently, that's what Belgrade looked like, at least in the 80s. But as soon as they start walking through this forest, one of the kids said, "What a dump."
This place is a dump.
And that made me laugh because it's a forest, dude. You're not going to find a McDonald's in the forest. But that's pretty funny. They arrive at a thatched hut village, which I don't know if these places still exist in Eastern Europe, but these houses looked like they were made out of grass and sticks with thatched leaf roofs, and they looked very tiny. And I thought that was very interesting because I don't think that anything like that existed in 1989, but who knows?
It could very well.
Yeah, it could very well. But the funniest thing about these huts is as soon as you go inside of one of them, it's magically it's like a bag of holding from Dungeons and Dragons. Like you open the door and
Yeah.
oh my God, they've got a fireplace here, which seems a little bit at odds for having a house that's made out of grass. But they got a fireplace. It's huge in these houses.
It's like the Thunder, the boat from Thunder in Paradise.
Yeah, it's like the Thunderboat with Hulk Hogan that lived. Hulk Hogan lived in that, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Beverly is staying with Vesna the Mystic, who is wild looking. And Jeff, why don't you tell us about Vesna the Mystic?
She looks kind of like an Evil Dead ghoul. But she makes a great hot soup.
She makes
And
great hot
she
soup.
really wants you to try her hot soup.
And the professor too. He'll even say, you know what? Hot soup. He's
Yeah.
obsessed with hot soup.
Yeah.
They say hot soup so many times, and the name Beverly.
This is good soup, Beverly.
Professor Adramalik says, Beverly, hot soup. Try the hot soup, Beverly. Beverly, please try the hot soup. You'll enjoy the hot soup, Beverly. Please try it. Over and over again until she finally relents, and shocker, it puts her to sleep.
Yeah.
Duh. And they take the opportunity while she's asleep. Um, Vesna, the mystic, is a virginity checker of sorts. She takes her two fingers. Luckily, we don't see much other than the fact that she puts her fingers under the skirt and then comes up with a big thumbs up. The big like, yep, she's a virgin, all right. She's very happy. They're very pleased with their work.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, all of the other villagers, these creepy villagers. Oh, and there was a one of the other creepy villagers that was leading them to this place was little person number 2 for the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. These guys are all boarding up the huts that the kids are staying in with hammer and nails and not drawing any attention to the fact that they're hammering these doors closed with hammer and nails with these kids in the house. They have no idea.
No.
In fact, they've gone to sleep in all of their clothes. So, yeah.
As one does.
As one does. So, while Beverly is asleep, she's been checked. Adramelech gets up and leaves. He heads off to some place that looks like an abandoned factory. And I don't know where the hell this place was, but apparently it's pretty close to this village. Just an abandoned Soviet factory? I don't know. Adramelech stares off into space in this abandoned factory. And then all of a sudden, the kid's bed's laid on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And everyone manages to get up and get out of bed. And luckily, they're in their full clothes so that they can get moving. And
Convenient.
everybody's trying to break down those doors, except for Richard the Black Kid. Richard the Black Kid is sitting in bed with his eyes fully open. This is awake. His roommate keeps screaming at him to wake up, get up, stop just laying there. Richard's sitting up, bro. Richard's fully awake. Richard wants to die. Richard is sitting there until the point where he starts to, the fire gets closer, and then you can clearly see that he's been replaced by a mannequin.
Yeah.
And then the mannequin just gets lit on fire. And his partner is yelling, "No, Richard, why wouldn't you wake up?" Yeah, that's crazy death number one being. Oh no, that's crazy death number two. But this one was not a beheading. So, what do you think of all that business?
I thought it was funny. It almost looked like they had like drawn lines through the hut in gasoline
Yeah,
because it was just like very strategic, one thin line of fire going around the bed.
yeah, it was like an outline on the bed. Yeah, it was weird.
But that's how Satan would operate in such a way.
That is true. Satan's very careful with his flames. That is
Yeah.
definitely true. These kids all go running off into the night, and finally Beverly wakes up. Her place is not on fire, but Vesna does try to stop her. She manages to blow past this old lady. She kind of reminded me of the hag from, I think it was Dark Crystal. Um,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The one who took her eye out and stuff, or was that Labyrinth? I don't remember. It's one of those
Oh no,
ones.
not you got me thinking of the old lady from Drag Me to Hell.
Oh, okay. I was thinking more like a family friendly one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. It could have been
All
like
of
the
the
old lady from
above.
Drag Me to Hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Somebody, yeah, coming from that mold for sure. And the only one who doesn't have her clothes with her is guess who? It's Beverly.
Oh yeah.
She's wrapped in a towel. Uh, no one bothers to find out why all of their huts got set on fire or to try and
No,
find the
just
cops or anything like that. They just ran.
yeah.
Eventually they find a stinky old train coming down a train track. It looks stinky. The whole area looks stinky. It looks gross.
Yeah.
But they try and flag down the stinky old train. It doesn't stop. So what they do is they run alongside of the train for a little while until they finally get to some really conveniently flat cars, and it's going slow enough that they can all lift themselves up except for one girl.
Yep, except for one. Yeah.
Yeah, curly blonde girl. And one guy decides that he's going to jump off to help her. And that was a big mistake because he manages to injure his leg, and that's pretty like he's pretty cooked after that.
Well, he was either way.
Yeah, he was either way, but honestly, he should have. If I were her, I would be like, "Why did this guy jump after me? I could have gone so much faster without this clown on my back."
Yeah.
Right?
But by trying to be the hero, he becomes the burden.
Yeah. He becomes the burden. The kids explore the train. It's absolutely full of Slavs, which seems to be a big shock to the kids,
Mhm.
which is crazy considering where they are. That, oh
Yeah.
my God, where'd all these
Surprise,
people come
surprise.
from?
Nobody speaks English.
Yeah. Except, guess what? Guess who speaks Serbian?
The
It's
conductor.
Beverly.
Oh, who speaks Serbian, not
Yeah.
English. Yeah.
Yeah, she speaks Serbian, and the conductor, I think all he wanted to do, like a lot of places, like if you go to Quebec, if you go to a lot of people will speak English there, but they want you to try and speak French first.
Yeah.
So if you try and speak French, if you try and meet them on their level, and they can tell that you're really like not good, they'll talk to you in English because you tried. And I think that that's what this guy did too. And this guy. Conductor Bosco shows them to a car that has one other person in it, and it's this guy sitting on the floor playing a flute. And the flute sound doesn't sound like any flute that I've ever heard. It sounds like somebody's playing it on a synthesizer.
Yeah, not just a synthesizer, but like a toy Yamaha like 20 key keyboard.
Yeah, which is pretty goofy considering. But Bosco says that this guy can't speak. This guy doesn't say anything. He just sits there and plays his flute.
He can do other things.
Yeah, we'll talk about that soon.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah. The conductor is stuffing his face with food while the kids are asking if he can help them. He says he can't do anything except for let them off at the next stop so they can tell the cops what happened. But the problem is the next stop is hours away. Like
Oh,
you're going to be waiting a while, folks. So your two friends that jumped off the train, they're going to be screwed for a while. The dude that jumped off the train absolutely broke his ankle, and while the pair are making a splint for him, some villagers walk by. So they're not that far away from where the shit went down.
hmm.
Yeah. Then we jump back to Beverly. And so what happens with this movie now is that we're jumping back and forth a lot, not quite as fast as Vampire Time Travelers. but we are
No,
jumping
not
back.
nearly as good either.
No, not nearly as good. So we're jumping back and forth. Back to Beverly. The flute guy is playing his flute while giving Beverly me eyes.
Mhm.
Yeah. And once again, we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Dreamy, dreamy Serbian bedroom eyes.
I wrote that he wants to play her flute.
I Yeah, sure, we'll go with that.
Yeah, we'll go with that. It's fine.
Yeah.
We're showing a brand new guy now who is, I don't know who this person is. I think it's somebody who we'll meet in a little bit, who is stealing money from an envelope while smoking a cigarette.
Mhm.
And I think that that's a character who we'll get to very soon.
Yeah.
Suddenly, we jump to another two new guys who are for sure driving the train. One is the engineer and one is the guy who's shoveling coal into the furnace of the train. They see off in the distance, there's a whole bunch of fire on the tracks. What the heck's going on? So
Mm.
naturally, we're going to have to stop this train, right? So they hit the brakes, they slam the train brakes, and everyone goes for a spill. But they manage to stop just in time before these flames. There's a character, a silhouette of a character in the flames, and he's tall AF,
And
and
he has a scarf.
he has a scarf. And guess who else has a scarf? Not only the cab driver that was driving Mom and when she got killed, also Professor Adramelech has a
Hmm.
scarf. And this is a magical scarf because this scarf wraps itself around the legs of the train engineer and it pulls him very, very slowly underneath the train. Meanwhile, the guy who's shoveling coal into the engine of the train, all of a sudden the furnace doors bust open and he starts getting sucked into that
Yep.
furnace. And these two deaths are some of the slowest deaths in this movie because they go on for what feels like minutes. It goes on for like it feels like 3 or 4 minutes of this guy getting sucked into the furnace and this guy getting slowly dragged under the train. But what happens when the guy finally gets dragged under the train is
Oh, yeah!
boop, beheading
Oh
number two.
yeah.
Yeah,
Excellent decapitation.
excellent decapitation made absolutely no sense in the physiology or the anatomy of the way a body works and the way what happens when a train very slowly hits a body.
Yeah.
But you know what? We love heads popping off in this movie. It's going to
And
happen
it
all the
could have it could have been the funniest death in the movie, but the one that comes right after it was even better because the way that guy got sucked into the furnace.
time. And the one that
Amazing.
comes right after that is very funny too. I couldn't figure out what happened, but we'll talk about him just now. Because just when you think that things are going to, get back to normal, the train just starts going again. Okay? It started going again when that guy was getting pulled underneath it. The engineer conductor Bosco is out walking around trying to figure out what's going on because the train stopped suddenly and everything. So he's got his little light out. He's walking up and down the tracks. He's trying to figure out why it's moving again, and he tries to climb back up onto the back of the moving train. All of a sudden, another car comes from somewhere, I have no idea where, comes up and squishes Bosco, but Bosco pops like a balloon. He just pops like,
Yeah.
and I don't understand how that happened, but it was very funny.
Yeah, it was.
Bosco turns into a blood balloon. Maybe it's because he ate so much before he went out there. I have no idea.
Well, maybe there was a theme we missed out on where like there was like a seven deadly sin theme and he was being
Maybe.
punished for gluttony.
Yeah, it's very possible. So the boys are trying to open the doors because they've just seen this guy pop like a balloon. So
Yeah.
naturally, they're a little bit freaked out. They're trying to open the doors, and Beverly sees Vesna's face in a dirty window. So that was disturbing for her, I guess.
Yeah.
She decides that, I'm not satisfied to just see this woman's face in a dirty window. I'm going to go to one of the outside cars. I'm going to actually go outside where she might be if I just saw her face in the window. And she decides she's going to make her way to the engine car. And a strange woman smoking a cigarette watches her go. Beverly finds the engine car completely empty, and she closes the engine door, which is open or she closes the furnace door, which is open from sucking that guy off or
Yeah.
in.
Whoa. Settle down.
Oh, my.
All of a sudden, a red light flashes in the engine room. And she gets a message, a special message from Professor Adramelech because he's got some sort of PA system on the train, I guess. So when it flashes red, he's talking.
Yeah, that
And
was
he,
that was very puzzling.
yeah, it was strange.
It sounded like he was speaking over a PA system, but I think the intention was it was supposed to be like in her mind.
I think so too. And there were three voices talking. When he talked, there was his voice, there was a woman's voice, and there was a child's voice. And they
Ah.
were all slightly staggered from each other, so it ended up sounding strange. But he tells her,
Beverly, you must go with me.
this has been in the works since long before she was born, and she needs to be in the Passion Play and crown the Queen of Darkness. That's her job. That's what she's got to do. And that all of her friends have to die as sacrifices to Lucifer, because his boss is Lucifer, the fallen angel, Satan himself, the big bad guy. During this speech, he says Beverly like 87 times.
Yeah, he loves the name.
He
Loves it.
loves it. Yeah. Beverly doesn't believe any of this nonsense, and she says, prove it. And he proves it. And what happens when he proves it is one of my favorite lines in the movie of all. Because he proves it by showing her a vision of her mother, bald and painted
Oh,
white, with some sort of dragon serpent creature coming out of her cooter.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
she turns to her and says,
Beverly, I'm your mom.
and that's
And
my
this is
favorite line in the movie because, yeah, you're
no.
gonna, maybe she didn't recognize her mom. I don't know.
Well, I would be easy not to, because seeing as she was bald, painted white, and she might have been more preoccupied with the dragon coming out of a cooter.
So the other kids at this point are trying to figure out what happened to Beverly, but they don't seem to care all that much. They're just like, oh, where'd Beverly go? Um, the jump to the two escaped kids. They're desperately trying to travel through a swamp. And then they jump again to a train station. This is the next train station where this train was supposed to stop, where these guys were going to get off and talk to the cops about what happened. And this train doesn't look like some rural dipshit ass area like the last one. This train looks like it's like a regular train station with regular looking people, a kid playing with a soccer ball, you know, people, let's say there are people who make middle class incomes are at this train station. This train is absolutely not stopping. It's barreling right through. And you're thinking, oh my God, somebody's going to get killed. The kid who's playing with a soccer ball right around the train track, somebody's going to get killed by this train. But nope, bait and switch. Nobody gets killed.
Yeah. Do you
But
want to know my
one,
favorite thing about the
what?
train was?
What?
The scenes where they used a toy train set.
They sure do. It looks so bad too. We're going to get into that. That's going to be fun. That's coming up
Oh,
very, very soon.
all right. You can edit that. You can edit out what I just said if you want to have a more
Oh no, it's okay.
reveal with that.
No, it's all good. I jump the gun on stuff when you're presenting all the time. It's
Oh,
crazy.
okay.
Yeah. So the guy who yelled the best part about this train, about them trying to stop this train, is the guy who runs out with a little red flag and tries to stop it like that. And this train is absolutely not going to stop for that guy. In fact, now this train has even got it looks like horns, like pieces of metal on the side of this train at the front have flipped up. So it looks
Mm,
kind of like it has horns too. It's like a little bit of imagery.
yeah.
Um, this guy calls train home office, which seems to be pretty sophisticated technologically.
Yeah.
He calls
I
train
think they
home office.
watched either airport or airplane
Yeah,
for inspiration on how to film those scenes, because it reminded me so much of
yeah,
either of those movies.
absolutely. Um, he calls train home office to tell them about the runaway devil train. The other kids who aren't Beverly find the cigarette woman, who now tells us that her name is Saba. She speaks English and she has a knife and she's a thief, not a killer.
And
That's
she talks
important.
in the third person.
She always talks in the third person. Saba tells the others that Beverly's in the engine room, and if they want to help her, they have to head over that way. So they all go, they need to climb over all the coal in the coal car, which seems pretty dangerous, but they all decide to do it anyway, and they pull Beverly up out of the engine room. There's a zoom out shot at this point, and we see that the train is down to three cars. Like it's a short train at this point. We got the engine, we got the coal car, and we got one other car. And that's it. That's the whole train. Back to the swamp, Leg Guy's having a real tough go. He's not looking good. They find a hut in the swamp where they can try and find some shelter. Okay. And then we're only with them for a minute. Okay. It's a good thing that guy jumped off the train, though. He's completely useless, like I mentioned before.
Yeah.
Back on the train, Angel is one of the boys, and he's a big guy. I think he's Latinx, but he's got like he's a big guy, and
Yeah.
he's always giving people the business. He's giving Beverly the business now.
What's with you?
And then the other girl on the train, the dark-haired girl, makes up a big story about how Beverly went to the engine room to lose her virginity to the conductor and the engineer, and then killed them both when she wasn't satisfied with their lovemaking, or something like that. Where
Yeah.
she thought she was disappointed with herself for giving in, and so she killed those guys, which is ridiculous. Okay, and then this guy, the blonde guy who's still with them, the handsome guy, like the guy who's supposed to be the handsome one,
Sure.
gives Beverly a hug to make her feel better. And when he comes away, he's got maggots crawling around on his hand.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, while all this is happening, Saba has found a box of explosives that she's just goofing around with. And we'll talk about that in a minute because she does some crazy stuff. Some stuff that I would never do for sure. The dark-haired girl that was a real bitch to Beverly is now apparently the girlfriend of that blonde guy that hugged her. She is having a little lay down because she feels bad. Jump cut back to the swamp. We're back in the swamp now. Leg guy's having a real bad time. He's looking bad. Like he's all sweaty and he's all pale and he's shivering and I think he's got a fever. He's probably dying.
Yeah.
But a boat has floated up to the hut, like to the door of the hut, conveniently. So that's pretty cool, right? Just when you think something's going to happen with that, jump cut back to the train. Saba is talking about how her job is stealing money from trains.
Yep.
That's her whole job, but she doesn't steal the whole thing. She only steals
10%.
10%.
Yeah.
Yeah, steals 10%. So that's cool. So that's who that was when we saw somebody taking money out of an envelope. That was Saba. But as Saba is explaining all this to everyone, she's emptying the gunpowder out of shotgun shells with a lit cigarette hanging out of her mouth the whole time.
Nice.
Making this big ass pile of gunpowder with, somebody would have, if I were there, I would have said, "You got to stop that. You're going to kill every single one of us." She says something evil is up with this train. And she can't put her finger on it. She's not a religious person, but something evil is going on here. Back to the dark-haired girl who's having a lay down.
Oh, yeah.
She wants to have a big old French with her boyfriend.
Hmm.
And they really go for it too. She kind of rushes over so you can't see her face completely, but she wants a makeout session and they're really going for it. It's like one of the grossest kisses I have seen in a while. They're just got like their tongues down each other's throats. But suddenly this guy kicks back and he starts spitting meat out of his mouth. He's just like,
Yeah.
puh, and he's got worms on his face.
Yeah.
It shows the dark-haired girl. And Jeff, do you want to explain what we saw for the folks at home? I can't show it anyway, so
No, you unfortunately you could not show it, but she peels her face off,
yeah,
and it is so masterfully done.
yeah.
It
It's
was
harkens back to
beautiful.
like Fulci stuff. It's a
Yeah.
really good one. It starts her head starts splitting at the top, and she just kind of pulls at it and then pulls her face right off.
Oh, it was so good.
However, we'll talk about that again in a minute because I don't understand something that happens in a
Mhm.
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff here. That's one of my favorite parts in this movie. But now we're going to get into one of my next favorite parts about this movie, and that is when the train decides that it wants to make a detour on its own.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden, the tracks, which are tracks from a miniature train set, pull off, and the train decides that it's going to go for a detour.
Yeah.
So it goes for a several minute detour through the countryside where it's just not on any tracks at all. And everybody on the train, whenever it shows anyone on the train, they're all like that and they're all flying around. And I would imagine the pile of gunpowder that Saba made is now gone because
You think?
you'd think, right? Because it's getting thrown around everywhere. Absolutely used miniature trains for this. It looked like dog shit, and it's one of my favorite things that I've ever seen.
The
Uh,
worst was when you see the tracks
yeah,
separate. It's I mean It's a toy train set. There's no.
There's no question about it. Yeah.
Someone had this in their basement, then they filmed their toy train set.
Yeah. It looks like dog shit, absolute dog shit, but it's one of my favorite things. They use
Oh,
miniature
sure.
trains. Serb train control is like, what the f? They're like, what happened? This train has gone off the tracks and then come back on the tracks somewhere else because they decided to change directions. Now the swamp kids are on a boat in the swamp. And just when you think that all this train business is done, right? They couldn't
Well,
possibly do this train stuff again where they take the miniature train and they go off the tracks and all that. Guess what? They do it again.
What?
This train goes off track again. This time, it's headed towards the swamp. And this time, it knows it's about to do something epic because on the train itself, some cabinets pop open and a speaker starts playing, like a radio starts
yeah.
playing. Some really like March of the Valkyries does da, 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 da,
Yep.
da, 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 as this train heads towards the swamp. They know that they're going to do something cool. This train makes a beeline for those kids in the boat. They can hear that train coming, hits both of the kids, their heads fly off.
Ouch.
Two more beheadings.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what happens when you get hit by a train on a boat in a swamp.
And
this
doesn't one of them, doesn't the girl's head land in the train?
I don't know. See, that's my question mark that we're going to get to in a minute here. I don't know whose head that is. I'm not sure. One of the heads is floating in the swamp. It's either the boys or the girls or both. I'm not sure.
Because very soon after that, we see
Yeah.
Beverly with
With
a
a
head
head.
in her. Yeah.
But it had dark hair, so I thought it was the
Oh,
girl from before that she cut her
okay.
head off,
Maybe.
but all of the skin was all back on the face. That was the
Yeah. So,
question, folks. I
yeah.
Beverly is laying in bed with a head laying above her, and she's just got the blood dripping on her chest. And then she comes out to her friends with this head and see, I beheaded this person. Well, folks, I'm bad news. I just beheaded this person, and I'm the reason for everybody's deaths, and I'm bad, so I cut my wrists. But what happened with that? Because, yeah, all of a sudden her wrists weren't cut anymore. So crazy. Lots of weird stuff happens in this movie. Another question mark I had was all of this stuff happens right after the kids got hit by the train, okay?
Mhm.
The boyfriend, the blonde boyfriend of the girl he had just been hit, whose face his girlfriend had just pulled her face off, is just kind of nonchalantly talking with the other kids. You'd think that that kid would have been really up by what happened, right? He just saw
Nah,
his girlfriend pull her face off.
when you're young and horny, you lose one, you're just about ready to jump on the next one.
So that's crazy. All that happened. Um, the blonde guy and Angel tried to escort Saba to the engine room because she has made a secret TNT project. All of
Mhm.
that gunpowder has gone into a secret TNT project. They start to go across, and the blonde guy, who seems to have been pretty adept at traversing this train so far, all of a sudden falls between the two cars. And Angel is stuck way up here on the coal car. Saba's trying to pull this blonde guy up. Eventually, a chain kind of dislodges itself from the train because it's a devil train, and it wraps around the guy and completely pulls him in half. And at that very moment, he becomes a mannequin with spaghetti intestines hanging out of him.
Oh, that was so great.
Yeah, very
That was
cool.
my favorite death in the whole movie.
Yeah,
When you see him under the train,
yeah.
and then the head eventually rolls off to the other side of the. Oh, it was amazing.
Because he was also not just was he pulled in half, he was also beheaded by the train.
Mhm.
And that's beheading number 5, I
Oh,
believe.
yeah.
Nope, 6.
Great. Oh,
Mom, the two kids in the swamp, the train engineer guy, and this guy. So five
okay.
beheadings. Five beheadings. I'm the count. Get
You
it?
are.
Yes.
And who was also probably from the same area
Yeah, he
that this
probably
movie was
was.
filmed.
Yeah, Death Train. Every time I say Death Train, I want to say Death Pod by Guar. Like Death Train comes from the sky.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Um,
We'll cover that when we do Skullhead Face.
or Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, of course.
How can we possibly do Alice in Wonderland or Skullhead Face? Oh my God.
It
Oh.
would it would be a very short video. Mhm.
The government has no idea what to do about this train. They're like scratching their heads because this thing is going off, going through the swamp, coming back. Nobody knows what to do. So they decide to get some regular train guys just to sabotage the track. That's really stupid. Of course that's not going to work. We've seen this thing go off track twice already.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's it going to do? Like to see these tracks taken apart and just go, "Oh no, I can't go across these tracks." So naturally, it just goes right through.
Mhm.
So what they decide to do next, they called the biggest, toughest train boys in Eastern Europe that have the most explosives to drive their explosive trucks to block the train track. And they all do that. There's like a little chase for a while there where they're trying to chase the train, and I couldn't quite
Mhm.
figure out what they were trying to do. And then eventually they get ahead of this train, park their explosive rigs on the train tracks, and one guy doesn't manage to get out of his truck. I would imagine that his head, I'm not sure when he exploded. I think his head might have gone flying off too. His fiery, ashy head, I'm not sure.
I didn't catch that if it did. I don't think so.
But naturally, this doesn't stop anything. This train's still going. Angel has lost his mind. Angel is hanging off the side of the coal car, giggling like a schoolgirl, just having a great old time. And so the train decides that it's going to raise one of those things like when there's a street that crosses the train track, one of those bars to stop
Yeah.
people from going across. It raises one up and it just goes right through him.
Yep.
They missed a great opportunity to take his head off, honestly. Mhm.
Decapitation number 7 or 8. I mean, why stop at 5 or
Exactly. They could have
6 or
done
whatever
more.
it's been?
Saba plants her bomb on the side of the train as Death Train comes up on another train. That bomb goes off, taking Saba with it, and we realize that her character had absolutely no point. So
No.
that explosive, she didn't do anything of consequence. If you had written her out of the story, it would have been exactly the same.
Friend of the director, I'm sure.
Probably, yeah. Death Train annihilates that other train that's coming up on it, but luckily they were able to get all the passengers off of it first, except for one old guy who was, I guess, going. The captain goes down with the ship, the conductor
Yeah,
goes down with the
I
train.
mean, you had to lose one guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he could have just gone. Like nobody would have faulted him for doing it. But anyway, Death Train goes right through that train, just blows it right up, and then the Death Train just stops on its own. It just
Yeah.
stops.
Just decides to give up. Its purpose has been fulfilled.
Its purpose has been fulfilled, and guess what happens next, everybody? The villagers from the beginning of the movie come back out banging rocks together. We've gone full circle. We're exactly right back where we started. So this train has done a great big circle around Eastern Europe. But remember that flute guy who doesn't talk?
There he is. He's still around.
That flute guy who doesn't talk stops playing his flute for a second and pulls back his hood. And guess what? He's a hot guy.
He's a hunk.
He's a hunk. He's a hot guy. And him and Beverly look at each other. And they only
It's
have to look
odd.
at each other for a minute, and then all their clothes are gone magically. Just and guess what they do, everybody?
Boner alert!
That's right, Jeff's got it. So they do that, and then Beverly gives herself over to Professor Adramelech, and she says, "Okay, I'm ready to be the devil's virgin bride."
Hmm.
She gets up on the devil bed, and which is very high up in the air, and then Vesna or
Oh,
whatever her name was, the the virginity checker comes back out.
yeah.
This time
Surprise.
This time she puts two fingers in and she goes,
Oh,
"No, no, this time
Oh
it's not." And meanwhile, the devil has come up in his little devil box. He's
yeah.
risen up in his little devil box.
It's almost
He's got
like the Pope Mobile. It's this like glass case, and
yeah,
he's in there with his long. He reminded me of
salad fingers.
Vladislas from Subspecies.
Oh, okay. He reminded me of that salad fingers guy from the internet. You
That too,
know?
yeah.
Yeah. So what happens next is we figure out what happens when you cuck the devil because
You
that
don't like it.
he didn't like it very much at all. But guess what? He did not kill Beverly at all. He didn't touch Beverly. He killed all of his own people.
Yeah.
Every last one of those people. Adramelech's face melted off. It was pretty neat.
Yeah, very good. Very well done.
Very well done.
That's whatever the hell her name was, has a great, she kind of rots there. It was
Yeah,
very good. Very well
yeah,
done.
very well done. I don't know how Beverly got back down from the devil, but because it was pretty high up in the air, but she did because all
I'll
of a
tell you
sudden,
one thing.
yeah,
This was the worst PSA on virginity I've ever seen in my life.
Beverly is now back at the airport, and guess what? The customs guy that she checks in with says that she looks completely different than the photo in her passport that was taken 3 months ago. And my lovely wife believes, because she was watching this part with me, believes that it's because he has some sort of a virginity detector and that he could tell that she looks very different now that she's a woman because she's had sex.
That thought crossed my mind, and I'm
Yeah.
sure that's what they were going for, but I think she cut her hair into bangs,
Really? Hmm.
which could also be which could also be poetic
Yeah.
because she finally got laid,
But she got
so she cut
banged.
her hair into bang. She got banged and she got bangs.
It would works really well. So an airline attendant tells her that she forgot her book, this mystical book from the very beginning of the movie that we have not seen since Mother handed it to her at the airport before she left for Serbia.
Mhm.
And when she asks who let her know that she forgot that book, she says, "Oh, he's right over there." And she turns around and it's her sex monk. Like or it's her sex
And
flute guy. Yeah,
I
he's the
was
guy.
really hoping that he was going to like dissolve, like to slowly disappear from the scene while he was
I was
waiting.
hoping so too, but he didn't.
Yeah.
But she turns away for a second and then he's gone. But guess what, everybody? She opens that book finally for the first time when it's too late. And it says that this guy, a picture of this exact guy, was an 11th century saint who is a ghost.
Yeah, the monk.
Yeah.
And I noticed something interesting in the text that was
Yeah.
below like that portrait in the book. It said that he was burnt at the stake, put to death, burnt at the stake in 16 or whatever year it was. I can't
Yeah.
remember. And but then I didn't catch the last couple lines, but it said he was then rehabilitated.
They thought he was satanic. And then he was rehabilitated and then they made him a saint after his death.
But how do
Oh,
you
but he was executed, right?
Yeah, he was put to death and burnt at the stake. How do you rehabilitate a dead uh,
I
piece
don't
of
know. Maybe
charcoal?
maybe his reputation was rehabilitated. I don't
Maybe
know.
there's some Catholic thing like
Yeah,
the rehabilitation is posthumous, and that's when they make you a saint or something. I don't know.
who knows?
I didn't pay much attention in Sunday school.
I grew up Protestant, so I don't know any of that stuff. Then we do one of those things where there's turbulence, and then Lucifer reaches in, smashes in through the side of the plane, and grabs her. But
Salad Fingers comes in.
yeah, but it's one of those things, and then she jumps up because it was just a dream. Because this movie has a happy ending.
Mhm.
Although not quite a happy ending, because when she gets home, she's going to realize that her mother had her head popped off and that she has no idea. So that's going to
She
be like a rude awakening, right?
she probably figured that out already. I mean that the vision and the dragon and the cooter. I mean
Oh, yeah, that's true. You know what? She doesn't need anybody know though now because she's a woman now.
oh, that's
Yeah,
right. Yeah, she's that's
yeah,
you can see it in her face, in her
yeah,
hair.
yeah.
She's a woman now.
Yeah. All of her friends are dead. All of her family's dead. She's all good though because
Mhm.
she's a woman now because she has her 11th century.
Yep, he'll be
Yeah.
back.
Hmm. So Jeff, what do you think of this movie overall?
Well, let's see here. What do we got here? We got the shower scene with nudity in the first 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Excellent kills. Excellent bad use of miniatures. Satan. Uh, Everything I love is in this movie, so I have no choice other than to say 10 out of 10.
All right. From the moment I sat down and watched this movie, and I got to the point where Richard was very obviously sitting awake in the bed, and they kept yelling at him to wake up and get out of, stop laying down and get out of bed while his mannequin fried.
Yeah.
It had my full attention. And then when the train started going off the track and they started using the miniatures, I started thinking, "Oh, this is one of the greatest movies that I've ever seen." I have no choice as well, other than to say, and this is wholehearted. Wholehearted. I'm not doing my shtick here. This is absolutely a 10 out of 10. Hooray! Yay, we've done a 10 out of 10.
Love it.
Um, Folks, we really loved doing this movie. We love doing all these movies for you guys. To be perfectly
Absolutely.
honest, we've got a list of them. We're gonna make our way through it. Like I said before, we've got some special guests coming up. We're gonna have some guest hosts. It's gonna be lots of fun. We're gonna have some guests come on and do interviews with us from these movies, if we can get them, of course. Some of these movies are very old. For more Bottom of the Barrel, you can subscribe to both of our channels by clicking the subscribe button at the bottom of the screen. Both of our channels come up when you do that. You can just click subscribe on both. Takes a second. Costs you $0. You can watch Jeff and his lovely wife Melanie's movie called The Haunting of Randy on their channel. And you can watch all the dumb bullshit that I do on a regular basis on mine. And we hope that you come back to enjoy more Bottom of the Barrel with us
We
because we love
do.
doing it for you. Yeah.
Yeah, we
So
do.
goodbye, everybody, and we'll see you in the next one.